Okay, in this program you're going to have to deal with cables often. In order to keep from having to replace these all the time, it's really important that you learn how to wrap them properly. Okay, so I have two cables in my hand here. You can see how this one here is very loose. You see how there's no strain on the cable at all. This one's wrapped very, very tightly, so there's some strain on the cable. So a lot of times this is a really common problem. We wrap them too tightly and eventually it'll break down inside here and you'll have to replace that cable. If you just wrap them very loosely and let them relax, you'll get a lot more life out of the cables. So to show you how to end up with this nice loosely wrapped cable. So we start by taking off this cable tie. You can see that it has a button here, and you'll push that button in and that'll release it and allow this stop to go out to the end of the elastic. Then I can just untie it. Now, really, really important, I don't want a bunch of these red things hanging out because you'll lose them. So to keep from losing them, you'll go to one end of the cable and you put it around and through and then push the button and pull it down tight. Now it'll be on the end of the cable and you'll never lose it. Okay, after you've done that, I happen to have an I-rig on the end of my cable. Okay, you may not, depends on what you're working with. So notice I undid it, take the end of the cable, kind of throw it out there lightly, and then I just start to get the energy out of the cable. So I'm dragging out toward the end to get that energy out of it. Okay, now I take my cable and I grab the left-hand side. Notice I've left some cable here. And I grab that left-hand side between the index finger and the thumb, just like that. And then on this side, that has all of the length of the cable, I'm going to do the exact same thing. When I grab it this way, you see how it's out at the tip of the fingers. And what I want to do is twist the thumb under, or the index or first finger over. Okay? And you'll see what that does. When I do that, when I actually grab that thing and then I twist over the top, you can see that it creates a natural bend in the cable that creates that circle. Okay, if I don't do that, you see how it starts to go wonky. Creates that figure 8 pattern that I hate, because that cable is going to start to go bad. So I grab both of these just like this. I'm going to take that first finger and I'm going to twist it over the top, and that creates the bend, and then my right hand comes behind my left hand. Okay, bring the thumbs together. So I'm starting off like this. I got all the energy out, right? Holding, and you'll have to learn to judge that distance for how big a diameter the circle is going to be, and then pinch between thumb and first finger over the top, and then bring your right hand behind the left hand. And then you're going to keep doing that. You're going to try to match that same circle. Okay? And notice I go out to the end and I take the energy out again. And I go here, right, out at the end, and pinch over the top and roll it in. And I don't want this. We don't want that. One big circle, one little circle. We want them all to match. There it is. Matching, feeling good about that. And maybe one more circle out of this one. We'll see how we do. I go out to the end, pinch it over, and that's a nice relaxed cable. Now, I'm not too happy with how much of this is going to be hanging off, so I'm going to start again. Okay, start wrapping it. I'm going to make a little bit of a smaller circle this time. Try and make these match up, and that matches up really nicely. So I like these hanging on each side. Okay, they're not down here, and they're not up here at the top of the circle, like, if I can do this here. So that way the weight of them is hanging off of each side. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can do this poorly and put these at the top in a way that I don't want. Yeah, so kind of like this. I don't want that, right? So that each end is at the very top. I want them to loosely hang down the side. So each one is going to loosely hang down the side. And got it stretched out. I'm going to show you one more time. Stretched out, pinching, right, over the top. Looking pretty good. Stretched out, getting the energy out over the top. First finger over the top. Creates that circle. Feeling good about that one. Over the top with the index finger. And I can get one more out of this. I'll go out to the end, come over the top, and that looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to put my tie on. So I'm going to take my tie off. Yeah, this looks pretty good circle. Nice and loose. Come underneath. Just like this, come underneath with the tie so that it's holding the cable like this, kind of like a basket. Hope you can see that. And then we take the knob, the slider goes through the loop, nice and tight, and then we push the button and we can pull that down, and there's a nicely wrapped cable.